Hello again, my name's Gabe Zollner. You know, I posted a couple of videos recently and I talked about Prescott Bush, which is the grandfather of George W. Bush, and Jeb Bush. And I had mentioned that he was a Nazi collaborator. And I'm going to attach a link, and it's under rents.com. I'll give you some of the highlights. Bush family funded Adolf Hitler. That's the title. Have you ever wondered how Adolf Hitler, a mediocre painter of Australian origin, transformed himself into Germany's Führer during the 1930s and 1940s? Goes on to say, the Nazi phenomenon was no historical coincidence, and far less philosophical whim made real by just one man. Nazism had its followers, many of them exceptionally wealthy, veritable alchemists of the financial world back then. According to research carried out over the last few years, Wall Street bankers, amongst others, financed Hitler's rise to power, whilst making large profits at the same time. What is yet still more deplorable is the fact that relatives of the current U.S. president were amongst this group of individuals. You can read the rest of the article, but the individual that they're referring to is Prescott Bush, George Bush's grandfather. It's really amazing how people like the Bushes were able to do what they've done and the damage that George W. Bush has done to America. You know, I've said this countless times. George W. Bush, he holds a mountain bike race every year for wounded warriors. I think it's to try to help him alleviate his guilt, because the only reason they're there is because of him. Yeah. Bush went into Iraq not because they had weapons of mass destruction. Bush, from what I've read, went into Iraq because Saddam Hussein had taken out a contract on the first president's life, 41, George Bush. Read the article. You're going to find it most revealing. And there's a number of other links that you can Google by yourself. But it appears that there's no question of the Bushes' participation in profiting by putting Hitler in power. Pretty amazing, is it not? Yet we've given the Bushes, what, 16, 20, 12 years. 12 years in the White House between the two of them. And look at the devastation they've caused. You know who was the first one to talk about one world order that I'm aware of? It was President 41. It was George Bush. The son of Prescott Bush. You find that somewhat odd? You find that somewhat coincidental? Again, I'll attach the link. The last paragraph is interesting too. The Bush family's habit of dominating territories and wealth is nothing new. The fastest genes were generated during the 1930s, therefore defining the occupation of Afghanistan and Iraq and the threats to other countries as a continuance of blitzkrieg offensive as fascists is no blunder. Neither is convening an anti-fascist front. It is a rhetorical exercise. Read the article for yourself. It's not a coincidence, folks. Scary, is it not? I think so.